Afternoon, folks. Welcome along to another episode of Friday Beers. So today in South Africa, we began level 4 of lockdown. However, the harsh reality is that hundreds of thousands are still unable to return to work, still unable to put food on the table for their families, and still not receiving enough support from the government. Fortunately, community heroes such as last week's guests, Drifter and Studies, followed in the footsteps of Woodstock Brewery to turn their breweries into soup kitchens, feeding thousands of starving people in South Africa. If you can donate, please do. I'll pop a link in the comment section below to all three of their causes. This week I'm joined by Apiwe from Brewsters Craft, as well as others. Pierre here from Mountain Brewing and Stef from Little Wolf. Thanks for joining me, folks. Good to have you along today.
Hi, Mike.
Sorry.
So Apiwe, let's start with you, because I see that you've also been repurposing your brewery space.
Yes.
What have you been doing?
I've been trying to, sorry, there's a, I don't know if you can hear that SADF flying over my house. There was a bit of an echo. I've just been...
They're watching you.
Yeah. You're in trouble.
I've been making a lot of pineapple beer. I think maybe that's why they're watching me. I've been brewing. I just finished brewing now. I was brewing earlier on. In terms of the brew space, I think, like everybody else, I've kind of gone through the different phases of what I would call COVID-19 grief, where the one day you wake up, you're like, there's hope. And then the next day you wake up, you're like, oh my God, like, am I ever gonna make money ever again from this industry? Did I choose the wrong industry? Maybe I should have just started by making hand sanitizers from the word go and just never started making beer. Maybe I should have chosen to make chips, simple chips or whatever. So I've gone through that. At the moment, I'm packing hand sanitizers. So I'm working with Rob Haynes and Eben from A Giant, because Eben does the mixing of ethanol at his brewery. In Rob, they also have got a mixing plant in Cape Town, so we're using my space to repack for their company, and then they obviously distribution. So, and also just looking at other people that are looking for hand sanitizers.
Awesome.
Super. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Pierre here, what have you been doing to keep yourself busy?
I've been raking the leaves today, but not all at once. What am I doing tomorrow? And then we took a tour in the garden route from the left side of my, from the trees to the flowers over there. Pretty much it, Pretty much it.
You rake the leaves from one side of the garden, and then tomorrow you rake them back to the other side, and you just kind of...
but slowly, otherwise it's too quick. It's quick.
Yeah.
We've been there's been some sideline work and projects that we've been working on. A lot of movements are happening currently in the industry, and it's been interesting to see the move. I think it changes week to week, but definitely a little bit of life for after lockdown. We've taken on a couple of breweries as well, and we're going to help with capacity and etc. But it's interesting to see what is happening and the moves moving forward. And I think that's the big thing, is that fear of the unknown, is not knowing, not being able to really plan.
Mark Ferry asks, do you rake the leaves in your underwear? And Stef, David asks, David's asking, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking the IPA I brewed on the live stream.
Okay, cool. With the cryo hops, that one.
Yeah, with the metric fuck ton of cryo hops.
Yeah. Did you put enough in? What did 100 work out?
Tastes like it, yeah. 200.
Yeah, 100
Yeah,
of
it's
each,
good.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, 100 of each.
Yeah. Was it hoppy enough?
That'll do. Turned out like beautifully pale, and let me get it in the sun here. Pale and pretty clear. Like an elixir of deliciousness.
Nice, man. Looks good. Looks pretty good. So that recipe is up on Facebook, I think, isn't it? Still, the live video is still playable on the Bev Plus site.
I think so. And in the description, I think there was a link to the Brewfather.
Okay, cool.
Although that didn't have the on the fly edits, which was basically more hops.
Sorry, Mark Faree says cryo sucks.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
They're not sell cryo. They haven't evolved to cryo yet, eh?
No, they haven't quite cotton on yet.
They do something that sounds like the British Broadcasting Corporation.
Exactly. And who likes them?
Fake news. So I'm drinking the Octa Ale at the minute from RHBC as a bit of a warm-up beer here. Apiwe, tell us what you're drinking.
Nice.
I'm drinking a pineapple beer.
Like the rest of the country.
Yes, I'm just like, you know, I know you brewers have all your stash. I just want to show people that, you know, even though I might have my stash, but I just want to be in the same wavelength as them. So this, I brewed just to try out also the recipe, and because I've been posting a lot on my Brewsters group on doing with the different recipes. So this I did as one of the obviously practicals. So I get to drink my practical.
The best practicals.
Is that tell us a bit about that group then, the Brewsters group.
So the group is Brewing Costa South Africa. So it's been running for a while, long before the lockdown. It's more for the academy side of Brewsters, where I was posting, still posting a bit of the technical side of. I do some post on technical information, but recently I've been posting a lot on obviously what's happening now with the lockdown, the recipes, different types of beverages people can make. And interestingly, actually more than doubled the people that have been joining the group. So the numbers have more than doubled during this lockdown. So there's a lot of people that are interested.
That's a good thing, right?
It is a good thing.
I think there's a big surge of homebrewing going on right now, and it might bring a new wave, eh?
And I think what's important is for us to make sure those guys kind of stay on. We don't. So I'm trying the group to not scare them too much with the technical. So I kind of mix my posts, do some like general information, some general stuff about beer, so they get to and beer styles, so that they understand, you know, and now people are starting to learn about that there is more than just a lager, and you know, they're from there, and also where they can buy ingredients. So Stef, I posted your the Bev Plus link where you guys are now selling. So I've had a few people. I mean, I've got people from Malawi, Zambia following the groups. It's not just South African, just quite good.
Awesome, cool.
Are you able to export?
Is
Bev Plus able to export to African countries? No.
I'm not 100% sure. I think so. I think we can actually, or we can definitely import at the moment. We can import agricultural stuff.
Yes,
and malt hops.
I mean, with the new changes now on level 4, you are allowed to export agricultural, because they are allowed to export wine and all the hops and stuff.
Yeah.
Because the guys were actually going to bring it in from, and it was going to cost them quite a lot of money. So.
Yeah, I think I saw that post and I responded to the guy and asked him to email me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now I'll also, just let me know if you don't come in. I will hook you up.
Cool. Awesome. I've also been doing like a bit of a basic homebrewing experiment at home. So I literally took 1.5 kilos of malted barley and just did a stovetop brew, literally using bottles that I bought at the petrol station down the road, and see if it's at all drinkable. But yeah, super low tech, no technical knowledge needed, basically no equipment needed. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out.
Pierre,
You've also
Cam
been posting,
asks,
Mike. I saw your post here, Mike, also.
the hard seltzer.
Yes, yeah.
Somebody says on the group they're waiting for their hard seltzer to finish fermenting. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Pierre, Cam asks, have you renamed your load shedding lager to lockdown lager yet?
Geez, that sounds depressing. No, I don't think I'll do that. No. There's a bit of humor still in load shed lager, and that's 2 hours a day maybe. It's no. I think that'll be depressing.
Not quite the same thing, eh? Yeah. I don't know. The internet seems a little bit like disruptive here today. It keeps saying is it buffering for everyone else as well on the feed? I'm wondering if I shouldn't just reset it quickly before we get into the next question. Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Wondering if I should move to my phone because I think my computer's struggling a bit too.
No, I'm on Vodacom at the moment because my wireless just screwed up as well. It's either way.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to try that to see if it's any better. Be right back.
Apiwe, we have to carry the show, man.
Oh, okay. Yes, it's just me and you now.
So they fall one by one, eh? They fall one by one.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a load shed to start off with, but I'm going to get an IPA now. I think it's time, actually. I'll go get another beer while we have this break.
Are we not live?
I think so. Yes. But I'm lagging so much, I'll be back before they can see if I was gone.
Okay, cool.
Be right back.
Okay. So it seems like I'm all by myself while I'm waiting for everybody else to come back. Oh, PG's back.
Here we go.
What are you having? Oh, you guys have how did you manage to keep so much beer?
Well,
here we are.
We've got cold rooms with thousands of bottles of beer. Beer we don't have a problem with.
Right, I think we're back, guys. Sorry about that. But, hopefully we are smoother and running nicely now because it was a bit. I just saw it was buffering the whole time, and I didn't want to put up with that. It seems like you've all refreshed your beers in the meantime as well, hey?
Yeah, it's time for old favorite.
Right.
Almost as old as the guy brewing it, eh? Yes, sir. 43 is turned this last week, I think.
I thought he was older. I thought he was 44. How old are you, Mark? There was some debate. Yeah, thanks, Stef. Sorry about that. Right, we are back up and running, and it looks like it's working nicely. Everyone's refreshed their beers. So time for a question for you, Stef.
Yeah.
How did you formulate your recipe for the hoppy wheat? Was it based on other beers you tasted?
A little bit, but it was so after coming back from Canada and I really tasted what an IPA is supposed to taste like, and I really got a taste for the hops. But even so I was West Coast, a lot of very kind of heavy West Coast style IPAs, and I did find them, even though they're fucking delicious and I loved them, they were a little bit palate fatiguing. So what I wanted to do was have as much flavor and aroma from the hops as possible, but dial back the bitterness. And then also, I'm not a huge fan of crystal malt, so I was like, how can I get some of that body and sweetness that kind of helps balance an IPA without the crystal malt? So then I added wheat, started with a bit of oats, but kind of sort of ended up just with some wheat. Then I played with the water profile a bit. And yeah, that's kind of how I ended up on it. Tried a few different hop varieties and stuff, but I just found that Mosaic by itself was just so good and so delicious. And yeah.
So you've tweaked the recipe along the way, but is it still a work in progress, or is it pretty much set in stone now and you're happy with that one?
No, it's still a work in progress, I think. I think beers are almost always a work in progress. It's never perfect.
I think they should be, eh? They must always be.
Yeah.
That's true.
You kind of have to keep evolving.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, yeah, things change and equipment changes, and sometimes you can't get that yeast and you need another yeast. And then, yeah, just it's always, I think being a brewer is just a problem solver. You've got to trying to get the similar outcome every time, but with a different set of parameters to start with.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And Apiwe, tell us about where you started off. I mean, like your story where you started off brewing, even from the early days of brewing non-clear beer.
Oh, I actually changed beers. I'm on my second beer now. Before I.
That looks like a clear beer.
It's actually not. It's a this I brewed also homebrew. It's a African vice. My interpretation of what an African vice should be. So it's got 25% sorghum, nice. And then I split, and then like 60%, 55% malt, pale malt, and then the other 30 whatever percentage was wheat.
Nice.
So I like brewing with sorghum. It's actually my new favorite grain at the moment.
Can you get hold of it still? Is it not?
I still have. Don't tell anyone. I still have some. I've actually had somebody who called me up and asked me if I can sell them some King Kong. So it's starting to become a bit of an issue, but I do still have, because even now I just brewed something. I use some King Kong as well. So.
Are they is King Kong going to be available again from today? Like into or as they?
I think they will. I think because they are agricultural, so they should on level 4. That probably I'm not 100% sure. Yeah.
Okay, but your brewing started pre-SAB days, or was SAB your real insight into brewing?
Yes, SAB was my insight to brewing. Before that, I mean, like, as much as I grew up, people like the mothers, grandmothers, and everybody else was making komboti. I never paid attention to it. I actually didn't care. I never bothered myself. It was only after I was a brewer with SAB, I was a qualified brewer. Then once I had my diploma in brewing and had actually started brewing, that when I went home, I'm like, no, but like, this is what you guys are doing is what we call meshing. What you guys are doing, we call it loudering, and then, like, trying to connect the two, and that's how the interest for me into brewing African beers just started, from the fact that I had mastered making clear beers, but had no clue how African beers were made. And that was like at that point I decided that I'm going to spend more energy wanting to know more about traditional beers.
And then obviously you were at SAB for.
I was at SAB for 9 years. I left I started 2007, 2006. Danny Orendal actually was my first boss. I don't know if people know that.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, he was a very first boss at SAB, and he was my brewmaster. So he's the one that actually I was his trainee. So he's the one that taught me all that I know. And then I went for SAB, and then I left 2014, 2015, joined Brewhogs, and I was there till 2017, started the brewery Brewsters in 2017, 2018.
Okay. And Pierre, your love for beer, where did that start?
I think around 2003, 2004. Actually, I hated beer and drink it. Funny or not, it was that thing you drink cold, ice cold, slick it down when you're thirsty before Brunnerwein, right? That was what beer was for me. And I think I drank some craft beer in Japan in 2008. We were there for drifting, and it was some of the craft beer section. It was like, holy crap, this is amazing. I can taste the flavors and the aroma, and actually I would like to have another one. And then it started tickling me, came back, started tasting craft beer, and there was great ones. There was absolutely terrible, undrinkable ones. And then why is this one so great? Why is this one so bad? So the science geek behind it started, really looking into it. And we just decided, I think our strength and our weakness was the same thing. Is we really, I think our first production fully brewery was kitted out with 50-liter brews, right? So we only started brewing we wanted to brew just for the pub, for Klip op Kop. And it kind of just exploded from there.
Fantastic. And tell us about this beer I'm about to open, the Madala's Gold.
Oh, that's a beautiful beer there.
Because I'm literally about to pour it into my glass.
Oh, it's a nice beer.
It is not your Castle Light drinker beer.
I don't want it if it's not Castle Light.
Some of the worst complaints and some of the greatest achievements from people was from that beer. I think it is definitely Marmite in the perspective of beer. You love it or you hate it. But it is a roller coaster of flavor, around 6.8%. And it's a beer that matures extremely interestingly. We've started to flash a couple of batches now to see if stability is possible on it, because with aging, that beer just became more and more interesting, right? So you definitely get that bubblegum and banana on the nose.
Very Belgium-y.
Yes, extremely Belgium-y. All imported from Belgium to make it. And funny enough, it's definitely helped us in the tourist areas and industries. I think it's more accepted with the people that are really well known with beer styles and has traveled a bit or comes from overseas. And it's one of those beers that we make because there's a big following for Belgian beer, right, in the country, and I think that's definitely one of them where we can say we can make Belgian ales quite interesting.
Yeah, nice. Sorry guys, I was a little bit, but I'm a bit behind on the chat questions because my chat wasn't refreshing for some reason, but I've got them now. David says that the Hoppy Wheat kit is now available on the Malt Miller website in the UK, but it's currently out of stock. So that's pretty cool because we actually me and Stef did a brew day video of the Hoppy Wheat, which is on this channel a couple of years ago. And David found that video and brewed it, and then I think he passed on your recipe to
the homebrew store,
to the Malt Miller, yeah. So that's
and then
pretty cool.
For fans last year.
He was, and he was going to be here this year as well, but COVID.
Yeah.
Cam says that he's out of commercial beer, but still has 3 kegs of homebrew that are half full and 2 kegs of South Eustace Club beer that he promises he'll replace afterwards. Natasha says, Apiwe, we need to get hold of some of those T-shirts for the beer ladies. What is it? She loves beer.
Yeah.
After lockdown.
Now you can sell clothing now. Make a winter T-shirt, and I think you're allowed to sell winter T-shirts.
Okay.
Cedar's just started his last case of Juicy Lucy. Cam says, +1 on Murray's question. Apiwe, will you be sending some of your beers to the Cape post-lockdown?
Yes, I am. I'm working on a plan.
You also sell your beers through Best Craft Beer, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes. So
who will deliver nationwide.
Yeah, I think he will start doing nationwide. Yeah. So I am working on a few. Or does he already? Okay.
Yeah, we
so my
ordered
beer
some
is
from him.
on the,
Yeah.
So my beer
very
has
quick.
been. My beer has been on Brendan's site, so we'll plan to have, because I'm doing I've done a few things that I'm busy with. I think this lockdown has given me so much time to do some of the stuff I've been planning to do, just never got time to do. So I've done rebranding on our house brands, which I'm loving the new branding. I've just done a few posts on it, doing a short social media launch. But with that brand, I am planning to really push it as much as I can. And because we do have a national distribution license also, so I am planning to distribute it nationally and possibly also start exporting it.
Fantastic. Yeah, I put a link to Best Craft Beer in the chat as well, so the guys can. I think they can pre-order and they can buy tab. I think I saw today on there as well.
Yeah, you can
please
buy
support.
a tab and get like 10% off.
Support that site, because Brendan and Best Craft Beer are really supporting local independent breweries right now.
It's been fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think he even made payouts to breweries during lockdown, hey, which is kind of unheard of. So,
paid me in the last 6 weeks.
So if I want to give,
right?
Sorry, he's in Joburg. He's in Santon, yeah, Santon, yeah. David also asks, has any of you guys brewed with spruce tips before? Did you brew with spruce tips in Canada, possibly? No,
I didn't. I've got some recipes for spruce tips, so you can message me. I've got what's the book called? From Scratch Brewing Company. They do it's called the Brewers Almanac or something. They've got a section on spruce tips, I'm pretty sure. And then I think I've got another book that also has some spruce tips info.
I think he might have a recipe. He says that Black's Brewery in Kinsale, Ireland, do a spruce beer. Not everyone's taste though. Brewcake Tap is watching. How's it, guys? How's it, Brewcake? Cedar says Pierre. Oh no, he's asked a question in Afrikaans. That's no good for me.
Come on, just read it.
Come on, entertain me.
Ek was by jou tasting in Rudegrans last something agility potion. There you go.
Just write the
Agility potion, tell us.
Hold on for time.
Yeah, sorry guys. I can speak French. Parlez-vous français? That's what we studied at school. Question for Apiwe. Any change in the production process when using sorghum, i.e. gelatinization temperatures, etc.?
So so sorghum as a cereal has got a higher gelatinization temperature than like your barley. So it's similar to like maize, rice. So you have to heat it up to a higher temperature to gelatinize. So higher being like your 80, or bring it to boil. So depending on the type of sorghum that you're using, whether it is pre-gelatinized or not, similar to like if you're using oats and an end. But when I brew with sorghum, I cook it before, or at least soak it in boiling water. So when I brew the Pilsner at the brewery, what I do is I boil the water, and then I'll leave it in the boiling water for like 15 minutes, and then I add it with the mash. I do know there are people who don't, would just add it in as is, but that just means that you're not going to get your conversion.
Yeah,
you get better extraction that way.
Yeah, you're not going to get good extraction.
So basically your ABV will be low. You might get some of the flavor, but you won't get any of the starches converting to sugars.
Yeah, but then because most of the time you use it as in a small percentage, so it won't really affect much.
Okay.
In terms of your extract.
So you'd be wasting the ingredient really, basically.
Yeah, but you'll be using more for the flavor. Yeah.
Yeah,
What I
we
want
did
to
with,
try.
Goza.
Yes, the sorghum with stellies.
Yeah, so we used sorghum in it, but yeah, we just kind of assumed the extract was going to be super low because it was just too much permission to boil it first. So we just kind of adjusted the recipe accordingly.
Was it just for marketing stuff, just to put the name on the?
Exactly, yeah. Why else do you do it?
So while you're talking, there's a question for you from Erica that says she wants to start experimenting with plants in her beer, like Buku. Any books or websites that she should start reading?
It's tricky, especially if you want to use local stuff, because there's obviously not all that much information, or definitely not much information about using it in beer. I think there's a good local book called People's Plants.
Yep.
I can't remember the author. I think it's Van Dijk, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it's called People's Plants. It basically talks about the medicinal use of a lot of South African plants. And then basically by looking at that, if you see people are using it, like ingesting it, and it's fine for that, then it's probably fine in brewing. That's kind of what I've gone with. But yeah, there aren't actually that. I haven't found many books that are super useful. I like that one as like kind of an initial check, and then it's basically just Google around and see what people have used it for in the past, and then also try, if you're still worried about it, or if you read some stuff that's a bit confusing, some of the more technical papers and stuff out there have a little bit more about they might have information on what alkaloids or oils and stuff are in there. But generally, you don't need to go that deep. I think People's Plants is a good starting point, and then do a bit of Googling, and then if people use it in other recipes or tinctures that they ingest for medicinal reasons and stuff, and it seems okay on that side, then I think it's probably fine.
And I know there's obviously they're not going to be going now, but there was some good courses run by like botanists where you could go and forage ingredients and they teach you about them at least.
Urban foraging places and stuff. Yeah, that's definitely worth looking at. Yeah, there were a few of them. That's definitely
tell you what's edible and what's not, at least. So, like you say, you can use them in. Although it doesn't help right now because they won't be running either. Obviously, no. And exactly. Internationally, I think we both have read that Drunken Botanist book. I mean, that's fantastic, and it has some local ingredients and some crossover stuff in there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the foraging one's a good idea, because basically if you can eat it, it's probably fine to put in here. So find stuff around that you can eat. It's a lot more people know if you can eat it rather than if you can brew it, and if you can eat it, you should be pretty safe.
Cool. David says he's brewed the hoppy wheat 3 times now. That's awesome. Apiwe, Mark asks, what is happening with brew hogs currently in terms of brewing? Well, currently they're probably not brewing, but I think he means maybe pre-lockdown.
I cannot really comment because I'm no longer part of the brew hogs team. So I sold my shares at Brooks, so I can't really.
Are you completely detached from that now then? Yeah. Tracy says she'd love to have your beers at Biggest Little Beer Shop. So there you go. There's a Cape Town market for you when you can sell.
And Tracy is full of shit. So fine.
What's that?
I said Tracy is full of shit. She doesn't take any beer, so that's a good sign.
Okay. No, but that's what I've noticed. A lot of people now don't take any, so they're very
selective.
Yeah.
I think that's what differentiates a good bottle shop. I mean, like, you go into Biggest Little, and there's like no SAB beers. There's not really any Heineken beers except maybe like Jack Black and Stellenbrau. But I mean, not really, like still craft brands, and that's it. You're not like they're not. That's what differentiates them from other ones that you walk into and you just bombarded with commercial beer adverts, and you end up buying that because marketing works, right? There's Sarah, my wife, says, what percent is that seltzer again? We have some hard seltzer that we made in the fridge. I'm guessing she might have tapped into it while I've been on this. So it's nothing. It was like 4% or something. 4.5. 4.5. That's what it was.
44.5.
Good. My Afrikaans translation didn't matter. It was a direct message for you, Becher. So I didn't really ruin that.
I did, but I'll check it off. Something about an agility potion. I'll check it out.
Andrew says, thanks for the videos and tips. Apiwe, his first Umkomboti brew will happen next week.
Good luck finding King Corn. Good luck finding Bros yeast.
Hopefully he's got.
But at least Bear Plus is open. Stefan, you guys must stock some King Corn. Because I've actually been talking to NFP, a Georgia from NFP, that maybe Sam will also start stocking King Corn, because they do the malted maize also and the malted bourbon.
Yeah, that's cool, because you can just buy it and it's pre-packed. You don't have to pre-pack it in 25 kilo bags.
Is brewer's yeast like a necessity in making umqombothi, or can you get away without it?
No, you can get away without it. So you can do wild fermentation.
Yeah.
So
traditionally, that would have been
on the packet.
Yeah.
No yeast.
But the fact that yeast makes it obviously ferment faster. So if you have you want it out in 2-3 days and you want to make sure that you get good fermentation, then it's easier to use the yeast.
It's more controlled, and you're going to get less funkiness, I guess, or less potential for funkiness.
But I don't normally use the yeast, so I still try to do traditional.
You can
use
you don't use brewer's yeast.
Yeah, if you just throw in bread yeast, it's going to be the same, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think Anchor just relabels their bread yeast as brewer's yeast. That's probably the same stuff.
No, but they've got the other one. The one, I think it's like a yellow, the one they call a super, what do they call it? Because they've got different types, but you don't normally find the brewer's yeast. Like you hardly, it's not in your most common.
The one with like the ukamba on the front. Whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that the green packet or?
I saw that.
Yeah.
So they've got different types.
Okay.
But King Corn is also a challenge now. They put out a post saying
that they just repack the other one. Because like they don't sell, like if you talk to Anchor, the only like A list they have is the stuff through Lallemand.
Yeah.
So if you ask them locally, they only make wine yeast. Like that's mainly wine and cider yeast. And in terms of brewing yeast, they would tell you about the stuff that's coming in from Lallemand. So if they are able to make the A list brewers yeast, then why can't they just?
Yeah, exactly. If they're selling it for that price, it's definitely not Lallemand yeast.
Yeah.
And that's what
it's extra mass produced.
I hear a rumor that Lallemand's prices might be coming down on a commercial scale at some point, which would be quite nice.
I've heard that rumor for 2 years now.
Only 2 years. That's okay.
Yeah.
No, but they've been saying that for a while. I agree. Like I mean, every time they've been to the craft powwow, they've been to boot camp last year. They were exhibiting.
Look, they're trying hard. I mean, the local guys are really trying hard, and international is telling them no, and then they try really hard, and international is telling them no. So I mean, I hope so, because it's a great yeast. In fact, I use a couple of their genetics for different of my beers. So it is sad to see that the price has hiked that badly, but I think it'll come back. I mean, the guys locally are really trying hard, and it's a pity because it's really good stuff. I mean, the last thing we want is everybody brewing with US-05, right?
Yeah, I brewed with their East Coast yeast. I brewed a few Nipas with it, and it's fantastic.
93 or 98 or what? Yeah.
And the nice thing is they seem to be like evolving and bringing on new products a bit quicker than fermenters. So it would be really cool to have that variety.
The Kveik strain is excellent as well. I pitched a packet of that in a huge barley wine, like 1.1 OG or something, and it just took off like immediately, like within 30 minutes, because I don't know exactly when, because I went back 30 minutes later to check, and it was going like crazy. So sometime between pitching and 30 minutes later, it was bubbling away like mad, and it fermented like all the way down to 10, 15 or something in 3 days at 36 degrees Celsius. I mean, that yeast has got to be made for South Africa, right? I mean, you can brew in the summer. You don't need temperature control. You don't need glycol. You don't need what a saving that would be. I mean, talking about going back into a market where we need to start saving money, and energy on cooling could be massive.
Yeah, I actually
but not
tasted somebody at one of the Word Talks meetings. Brewed, I think it was George from NFP. They brewed a Pilsner with it was like a 2-day-old, and it was as clean. I was like,
clean.
This Quebecist is rewriting brewing theory.
Because you can ferment it cold at like 25. Which is cold for Quebec, and it's quite clean then, it's like...
Does it mean we have to ban all the brewing books? Must I ban my certificates? Because clearly all that I learned about yeast and temperatures and...
But it's not a sack strain. It's Quebec is its own strain of yeast, right? So there's many strains of...
I mean, it still makes good beers. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to make good, clean beers and not as expensive. Try make it, but it's quite.
You're gonna have to put some heating elements inside your glycol tank.
Just switch the glycol out for a hot water bath. So Cedar says he has a beer in the fermenter that he mashed high, something like 73 degrees C, and it appears there's not enough fermentable sugars as the fermentation is stuck at 1030. Is there any saving that batch? Sugar? Depends what the OG was. I mean, 1030 for an imperial stout could be a pretty good FG.
Exactly. Depends what the OG was. Depends if he's done anything else to try and get the yeast going again. Has he tried swirling it, bringing up the temperature, pitching some freshly fermenting yeast to make like a starter when it's actively fermenting high grass and pitch that in. Those are kind of all some classic ways to get a brew started again. If all of those fail, then you could potentially put sugar in. But I think the bottom line is, how does it taste? If it tastes fine, then just drink it. It's homebrew.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, at that temperature, you're gonna run the risk of unfermentables, right? Immersion starts happening at around 70, 71 degrees. It might be extremely sweet now, but 6 months from now, it'll work through that. Even
there's some Brett in.
or just dry up it a bit. That diastasis from your hops will start it up slowly, and it'll bring it down.
So the OG was 1055, and Cam says. Cam also said, "How does it taste?" I think that's it, eh? How does it taste?
A lot of times the question around these kind of brews is, are you throwing good money around behind bad money? If it's an experiment, go for it. But if it's something like another 3 months in the bucket, can you something that you can drink now? Is it a necessity? Otherwise, call it off as an experiment and let it go.
So 73 plus minus 73 degrees C. You're not getting much conversion at that temperature, eh? What like?
You are getting a bit. And that's why there was a bit of fermentation. It's just that means that your enzymes are denaturing, so your enzyme activity curve is more on the lower end.
Right.
So I think next time, the key thing is next time you measure, make sure you don't go that high, and if it happens you're at that high temperatures, best thing is to just extend your mesh stand, just stand a bit longer.
Bring it down, maybe add a bit more malt to get some fresh enzymes in there.
And
do we know why he went to 73? Was it on purpose or was it a mistake?
No, maybe you can answer that question as well. What was the goal at 73? I think I've mashed at 71 before deliberately. It's about as high as I've gone deliberately.
You're gonna have some activity because an enzyme is not like in nature, but that it's not like once you are at 70 everything switches off. It just means that
so actually Cam says he often mashes his low ABV beers at 71 and they end on 10, 20 normally. Around that. Rhino malt might have some sorghum.
Okay.
Looks like they're Eastern Cape based. 034. Was that like Port Elizabeth? No. East London? I don't know. Somewhere up there.
Okay.
Time for another beer for me.
So
my glass is empty.
Next time I go home, then I'll look out for Rhino malt. Yay! Can I have some?
I think for me, this is probably my favorite beer to come out of South Africa, and many would agree with me. And it's hard to give a favorite, beer, but for me that is the case, and it's my last one. So, what better time to? And I had a few. What better time to crack the? You were selling these ridiculously cheap at Falls and Fans last year, if I remember correctly.
I was, yeah. Wasn't quite sure if people would like them.
Apparently they do.
Yeah. How's it tasting? I haven't had one in a long time.
I just rinsed the glass out there. So it's tasting a little bit Belgiumly from the Modellas before. Still smells perfect. This thing will probably live for as long as like Cantillon's beers. You could probably give it like a 30-year shelf life, eh?
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. That one, it seems to have lasted really well. With I think the Cidro del Porto, it's getting like a bit too gritty now. It's like, I mean, it's good, but it's like a bit, like you got to drink it really slowly.
I'm losing the bottle now. Someone's just stolen it from me.
Nice.
I had that Cidro del Porto the other day, and it was really good. But I do like a bit of Brett as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's got bucket loads of it.
This is tasting great, and the head poured beautifully. I mean, it's still got some retention in it as well, but it's quite surprising for a sour beer of that age, for me anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Any sour beer, never mind at that age.
So we're going to see some more sours from you at some point.
Yes, definitely. I've got 2 which are packaged, and the carbonation seems good, and they seem to have conditioned nicely. Just trying to get my designs done, the label designs. It's in a new bottle, so working on that. Unfortunately, my designer has been super busy over lockdown. So trying to squeeze that out of him, and then so hopefully fairly soon after lockdown, I'll get those out. Definitely send some up to Best Craft Beer. I'll have some on my own website, and it'll just be 1 or 2 bottle stores. So we've got one which is just like a straight barrel-aged saison. It was one of those rare barrels where it just tasted fantastic by itself. Has this really nice kind of soft white wine character, like these really nice kind of peachy fruit characters, but they're super subtle, so I didn't want to overpower it with anything. So that's the one. And the other one is, I'm not sure if many people had Kirsch, which was a sour beer I did quite a while ago. So that one was on sour cherries, regular cherries, and black currants. And once I emptied that beer, I actually filled up the same barrel with fresh saison onto the fruit that had been in the previous beer, and left that for 2 years or something like that. So it's picked up quite a bit of color and flavor from that fruit. And then I also added some hibiscus tea and a touch of buchu. So buchu gives it this kind of blackcurrant ribena character. Hibiscus kind of amps up the pink character quite a bit, gives it some more red berry flavor and a bit of tannin as well to kind of play nicely with the oak character. And so I think that's tasting really good. I haven't actually had one in a while because the bottles are all locked up in various parts of Cape Town that I can't get to. I'm looking forward to getting hold of some of those bottles again.
Yeah, I think everyone is. Everyone's looking forward to getting hold of some of those. And Pierre, you also have played with quite a bit of sour beers. Was it the Agility Potion that was at Woodstock Winter Beer Festival? Was that the right name?
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't a full-on sour that we added Brett or whatever, but I think that beer, me and Dewald Goosen did that together.
Oh, cool.
And he's sitting in Mauritius at the moment. Yeah, he's but
terrible place to be in lockdown.
Well, shame. Old man
his wife's
just
not with him,
over,
so.
and
No.
I mean, him and Romy got married, so he's over there. He was waiting for her to come, and then lockdown happened. So apparently it's not. So I can imagine he's a bit alone there. But great people he's working with there, and etc. But so we had a barrel that was that had a bit of peaty in it, and kind of let it ride. And at a certain point, we said that's it, because it does surely bring a bit of freshness to the fruit that we used as the dried peaches, and it just worked. So we blended it back. We used 2 different barrels for that one, blended it back, stabilized it, packaged it, and it just kind of worked.
Super. And then there's a question here.
Though we said it was intended. It was a lucky packet of a barrel that they used different staffs of different barrels to put it together.
But with sours, don't you have to kind of get a little bit lucky as well, or you have to get a little bit unlucky with some of them anyway along the way?
Not all of us are the guru of sours, as Stefan is. I think it kind of worked, and I mean, sometimes you have to blend it together with other sour strains and so forth. I'm happy to do that, but not in my brewery. It's a bit troublesome for me.
It's a nice one someone else. I do it in other people's breweries.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a question that you guys.
I did also, Mike. Remember, Nick and I also did a collab. Nick from Soul Barrel during the National Beer Day.
Yes.
So we did. Yeah, we made Mkombo tea, and he's currently aging that in one of his barrels.
Oh, super. So that's going to pick up some lacto and yeah. And nice.
So that should also be coming out post lockdown.
Cool.
We're hoping to launch it now in May for Africa Month, but with everything else that's happening, we're going to have to.
There's a really cool.
That's a bit screwed up, with our seasonals right now. It's like when are we going to open up? When can we brew it? It's a bit difficult. Yeah. Have you guys been changing around your schedules, obviously for interesting beers coming out and etc.?
Because I'm not organized enough to have a schedule, so.
Doesn't mess you up at all. There's a really interesting question here from David. Which maybe you can discuss, because I just have to run and grab some water. But it says, what are the brewers' feelings on exporting South African beers to Europe, UK in particular? So discuss that. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Did we go?
I've actually, it's one of my plans for going into next year, because I've had some interests coming from Europe and the US. So I think there is scope. Definitely, I think there's a lot of scope. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, I think Europe is a bit more stable for long term. I mean, the American guys that I've spoke to and that's keen is like, give me 3 pallets of this, 2 pallets of that, 4 pallets of that. But that's that, right? We're not going to take more, because American clients only want to drink a beer once, then they want something new. So I think sustainability for Europe is probably better. But what I'm seeing currently in the market is they flooded, right? St. Paddy's Day stock left over. They're going to dump beer soon, and etc. etc. That's being said on the one side. On the other side, I spoke to Phil last week, Phil from Bathhouse, and he said sales is up 31% on just online of their current sales, and I think that's what they're missing out on.
Yeah, and I think there's also like in the continent, African continent, like I've had people from your East Africa, your Nairobis, your also like a few guys from Ghana, distributors that have also made contact, and within SADC region there's a lot of interest. I think it's one of those things. I think one has to study the market and just understand, is it just a curiosity, or is there real sustainability in before you go and spend energy and monies and time on developing that channel?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've thought about it and sort of wanted to do it, but I find it tricky also just in terms of the freshness of the beer. So I think almost like if I wanted to make hoppy wheat, I wouldn't make it here, I would make it there. I mean, it's be the same brand and everything, but I mean, you might as well make it in Europe rather than make it here and send it over.
Yeah, you're going to ship the malts and the hops over from Europe and then send the beer back.
Exactly. But I mean, so I think for what
but it goes back to the whole story, marketing, Stefan.
Yeah, the marketing's the same, the label's the same, but it's just brewed there. But I mean, I'm not super keen to send over like my core beers, but I am very keen to send over sours and kind of do barrel-aged stuff in local wine barrels and throw in some local fruits and herbs and stuff like that.
But that's the market. I mean, like you could that sour plum you could sell for 20-30 pounds a bottle, like 600 rand a bottle in Europe, and they wouldn't even blink an eye at it, you know. And in this country,
small volumes, super premium, very select outlets, and I mean, that for me would be ideal. Yeah. Or just for what I want to do as well. Then I keep it small and just do it myself. That's kind of what I want to do. That's my thoughts. Anyway.
I think we'll definitely see a pickup on that, especially with the rand being where it is. Will it be a sustainable thing model? I don't know. As I said, the Americans, they want the beer once, right? They don't want it twice. But
you could adapt to that as well.
Excitement, it's curiosity. Yeah.
But definitely, there's empty containers that needs to go back, and I think it might be a deal of listen, we're getting local craft that is exceptional for a cheaper price to come over. That being said, we're not that famous for our beer. We're famous for our wine, which gives us a good platform. But I think we're a couple of years away for having a reputation of exceptional beer.
Yeah.
But we have not put ourselves out there, I think.
No.
When people come to South Africa, they kind of taste the same kind of beers. Like we all, like what Pidgey was saying earlier, we all brew the SO4. We all make the same ale. So there's nothing exciting about most of our beers. There's nothing that we want somebody to want to say, you know what, I want South African beer, because it's the same as what they have at home. So I think personally, I feel we need to create beers that are worthy of sending out there to the world, that are worthy to, when somebody says I've had a beer, it's from South Africa, it is something that is only coming from South Africa. They're not going to have it anywhere else.
Yeah, even if it's the same style but featuring one or two unique ingredients to South Africa, maybe, like, you don't necessarily need to rewrite the whole rule book on brewing, but you can switch out a couple things.
No, like something that like, you see the Madala that you just had now, that just for me is a beer that and Stef's beer that you just had now, like it's something that you can send out there and say, you know what, this is South African, this is what we have in South Africa.
No, exactly. Going back to that that 73-degree mash beer. It was based on a recipe by Beer and Brewer magazine for a slow churn milkshake IPA. So it's milkshake, it's probably got lactose in it as well. So I don't know, 73 degrees and lactose is never going to finish at 10-15 in my book. I don't know if it was maybe an American recipe.
If he's going to dry hop it,
it was dry hopped.
Yeah,
it was dry hopped as well, but it's still 10:30.
The question is, does he have a couple of months, or is it a necessity to have beer right now? Because it might be an interesting experience, but
having beer right now is a necessity.
So talking about having beer right now, Grant says he brewed a all corn beer using chicken feed, roasting half in the oven, and it came out quite good. Awesome. Used an amylase enzyme to do the conversions. And any suggestions on how to get the conversion without enzyme? Rhino Malt is in Natal. Okay. I think 034. Sorry. Yeah, of course. My bad.
Well, first, I mean, add grains that has a lot of enzymes. I think.
Yeah.
Shoot me, but SAB's got like 140 degrees Lintron in diastatic power, so it is an immense enzymatic grain, especially because rice and corn is added that doesn't have it. So I think that would be a good start to use that as a base.
The question is if you don't have barley, because I think if you do have barley, you probably wouldn't be using chicken feed.
But you can buy barley from Bev Plus now, eh?
Yes, you could, exactly. You can
But
even
who
milk
knows?
you.
Chicken feet might be the thing, the next big thing. You never know, eh? That might be the entry to the black market. We don't know.
You could try
How
and
much?
hold
How
some of
much
your
is it
chicken
going
feet.
for? How much is a kilo?
Yeah. Grant, how much did you pay for the chicken feed? Interested. Apiwe's going to make a beer.
Especially if the beer was good. Maybe we're doing this all wrong, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Lockdown lager won't replace load shedding lager. It'll just be chicken feed lager.
Yes.
Cam says, Steph, you bought a keg of tart and sour to Fools last year. Anything similar coming?
Ooh.
Well, I think we kind of answered that with your sours.
Yeah. Weren't you listening?
I mean,
Yes,
when I was at Tools and
It might be
Fancy,
old.
Stefan was next to me, and he had that Nachi,
Oh yeah.
Nachi vanilla or whatever. That was for me. That was the big show, man.
The white peach vanilla vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Stefan just later said, "Sure, man, help yourself." That was great. Just that one. That was the problem.
That's why Fools and Fans is such a good festival, eh? As a t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Get some plugging in there. Apiwe's got beer in Cape Town. Yeah, maybe. Pierre, you're showing off now, apparently. Well, I missed that. I was away. What happens with excise when you export? Do you pay both sides? I don't think so.
No. You have a 205 document that basically is ex-VAT. That's how you do it.
So you don't pay
you have to be,
excise
and you have to be registered. Obviously, you have to register as an exporter. So you register with SARS, or use a company that's.
Yeah, you need like an export warehouse, which is separate from your other warehouse and locked and all sorts of.
So if that's a business question about exporting, you can call us after this.
Cam asked, so maybe. I think could be asking. Mark says Nipas suck. Mark, you were telling us last week that you're going to make the best Nipa ever. So you can't then. One of your businesses sells hops, and Nipas use a shitload of hops. So stop dissing the Nipa. It's good for business to plug the Nipa. And also, I like a Nipa, so I'm just gonna give him shit about it.
And it's Mark, so just give him shit about it anyway.
And it's Mark, yeah. I will still make it, but you spelled still wrong, Mark. Are you stoned or drunk? Don't care.
It's lockdown.
Cool, guys. I think unless there's no more questions coming through at the minute, unless you guys have anything else to add to the chat. Did I miss something?
No, I don't think so.
I think for me, the one thing I want to just mention is obviously that we are all waiting to hear what's going to happen. At the moment, the level 4, there is some manufacturing that's allowed, but through the CBSA, we're just trying to find out from TTI whether brewing, the liquor industry, can be allowed to start to open up the breweries within level 4. If we are allowed, that would mean, I think they say 30% staff will be allowed into facilities, and obviously that's 20% of your production. So I think it's more for people who have beers on the floor to pack or to put that one brew in. So I think,
I think how the bigger breweries are reading it is they're just going for it. I know Jack Black's brewing.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is that the regulations quite clearly say for all other manufacturing, 20%.
Yeah.
So you're allowed
but
to
the thing
produce,
is, they
not allowed
also
to
then,
sell.
but they
Not allowed to
also
sell.
do talk about no sale, distribution of alcohol. So I think it's just one of those technicalities of just reading
But there's lots of other industries that are also not allowed to sell.
But I guess, I mean, I had this discussion with somebody else. It doesn't say no alcohol shall be manufactured. It says all manufacturing, exactly. So I
think there's a lot of doom and gloom right now. And I think as Apiwe mentioned, we're going through the waves. It's up and down emotionally, and it's a bit of a mental game at the moment. But I think us at MBCO is definitely committed to start up again, and there's going to be a lot of change for sure. And I think we've got an advantage as craft brewers to be agile in the perspective of changing quickly and being in the direction that what the people want. I'm working on a wonderful project that was supposed to be brewing in April for launch later, but definitely a lower sessionable beer coming with a lot of geeky science behind it. But I think right now to say A, B, or C is going to be the direction is silly. We're waiting, we're standing, but we will be ready.
Yeah,
I think difficult here. You can go. Sorry.
Because things are never going to be the same again. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know when level 3 is ever going to come. No one knows. When level 2 it's like crazy.
And also, we don't know, is level 3 going to be alcohol sales?
Yeah.
They have allowed online.
3 days a week for half a day.
I think
we just don't know when.
You just
a
don't
lot
know
of
when.
movement for online. I think for MBCO, our current before lockdown, e-commerce was about 10-12% of our business. I think we're definitely going to see a big spike there.
Yeah.
Keg is going to be down. We're not going to see kegs moving soon. I feel for the brewers that cannot put it in a bottle. But tiny keg is there, and I think we'll see a lot of cans going out, and we will adjust. We will adjust.
Yeah, we have to.
And I think if any brewery out there who at this point in time has not looked at some e-commerce online sale platform of sorts is not going to make it. So I think every single brewery has to somehow either get together. I mean, Best Craft Beer is probably one of the. Brendan has been working on that drum for a while.
And I've seen a lot of requests for gift vouchers and stuff like that. We're definitely going to start that up. I think people are concerned that when it opens, we're going to run dry. It's going to be a bit of a management around it, but I'm sure, as Apiwe said, we can start brewing and get ready for that, because that stock is going to fly quickly. And I think closer to the time, we'll definitely, my guys have said we got to do some gift vouchers. So that will definitely come, and we'll all kind of get ready for that online shipment, and we'll see volume moving then. It's great to see that people still want your beer. It's great to see that they don't want any beer. They just don't want alcohol. They want that specific flavor.
Yeah. And that's important. I mean, like I said it most weeks, but we can buy beer again. Don't just rush out and buy SAB and Heineken shit, because that they will survive. They're big enough to survive this, but the small craft brewers are not big enough to survive this, and they need support. So the beers you enjoy, go and buy, and support them. And if that means buying 10 instead of 20 SAB beers, then you've lived without being able to buy beers. Or some people have bought beers. Some people have bought SAB beers for stupid prices during this lockdown, So,
so I've actually been telling people that, because I've had people that would say, no, your beer is too expensive, I can't buy it. I'm like, but now you are buying a case of Heineken is apparently 600 rand at the moment.
And that money's not going to the brewer. That money's going to criminal syndicates, So it's not like
you're not sad. Us law-abiding citizens, we've got thousands and thousands of liters of stock standing there, but the bootleggers are making the money right now.
Yes,
true.
It's very sad.
It's not ideal, but I think people still want your beers, and that's the kind of the take home from it, and I think guys will still support you after this. So even though money's going to be tight, I think people still want to support local industries, because otherwise it's going to be a pretty sad world if we're stuck buying Castle Lager again for the rest of our for the next 20 years. Not that there's anything wrong with Castle Lager, but it's just boring to buy one beer the whole time. Let me just get that caveat.
Good save.
And ABI suck. But anyway, thank you, thank you guys. Thank you, Free, for joining us. Really appreciate your time and your input. And
thank you. Yeah, no, it's a joy.
I had lots of fun. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. Please check out the comment I put in the section below on this video, and support the Woodstock, Drifter, Stellies, or any other guys that are making the effort to turn their breweries into soup kitchens to feed people even less fortunate than how we may feel we are currently in this situation. You know, they're literally feeding guys that cannot put food on the table. And if you do have something to spare, then please go ahead and support them. I know it's tough, but I think any small donation that you can afford would be awesome. Otherwise, stay tuned for next week. I have a pretty cool session planned with some homebrewers to get a bit of a different perspective on
awesome.
on lockdown. And also
the guys that has been busy and selling beer currently, the homebrewers. Yeah, I'd like to hear.
Exactly.
Or at least maybe not selling, but at least making beer anyway. I've made shitloads of beer, but just because what else are we going to do? And also stay tuned for Wednesday. I'm just finalizing something, but we should have a really awesome guest on Wednesday to give a talk on designing beer recipes. And I'll announce that on social media as soon as it's completely signed off. But pretty excited for that. And we'll confirm in the week. But thanks for joining, guys. Until next week. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Bye.